Yo, we should be live now.
Yo,
What's up? How's everybody doing?
what's up? What's up?
Everybody hear us. Is this working?
Yeah.
We have had, if you follow us on Instagram, hell, you might have gotten like 8 emails from us today. Our bad. It seems as though that so many of you guys signed up for this thing that we broke the thing.
We broke the internet.
Crazy.
It's been a very stressful 6 hours, but I really want to thank you guys for being here. Yeah, I'll let Troy get into all that stuff. I just wanted to make a joke about that.
Oh yeah, no, shout out you guys. That was a crazy masterclass. I know all you guys got a lot of gems. We got a lot of questions to go over. We can just get right into it. You ready, Nathan?
I'm ready, man. Let's go, man.
Yeah. But before that, just shout out to you. This is your first course on the Heat platform, 0 to Sync, going crazy. And, just everybody give it up in the comments for Nathan and the rest of the Heat team.
I appreciate that, man.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Because I know you guys, we've all been very busy for the last couple of weeks.
Months, man.
Yeah. It's been a lot to go into it. So everybody give it up for the guys before we get into the questions. But yeah, let's go ahead and comment down a little bit into the questions. Our first one, Nathan, comes from Larissa. And she says, what's the difference between film and sync scoring?
So when you're doing music for sync licensing, any music for visual media is pretty much sync licensing. So that's film, that's TV, that's games, that's the ad you scrolled by today, that's anything. So pretty much anything with the visual media and music behind it, that's sync. So there's not really typically much difference. If you're talking about more specifically scoring for film, I mean, the process is different of how you do it, but essentially it's all the same thing. There's somebody sending you out a brief, you're working on that brief. Depending on it, what they want, you're making the music to it. There's very rare cases now where there's actually like a composer in-house kind of creating, kind of like on that scene of Forgetting Sarah Marshall, when he's like, making music to the little NCIS show or whatever. So that's usually the process right now.
All right, for sure. Yeah, and then we got another question from William. He asked, how can I submit music I've already released on Spotify, Apple Music, etc. to sync companies? And what verbiage should I look out for to be able to do that?
That's a good question. And I like that note at the end, the verbiage. So you're looking at non-exclusive or exclusive. Non-exclusive libraries typically don't care if you release on Spotify. Exclusive libraries do, depending on your agreement with them. You can coordinate with them because sometimes they'll just release it on Spotify on their own. But if it's already pre-released on Spotify, you typically want to avoid exclusive libraries. There's no one that's really better. The opportunities are a little bit, there's a little bit more opportunity for libraries that are exclusive because more companies want to work with exclusive libraries. But, I can't tell you that one's going to be better than the other. So, yeah, that's usually the difference.
All right, cool. And then we got another one here from Ruben. He says, do you think sync will be the first industry that will suffer from AI? I guess, is Chat GPT coming for your job?
That's a good question. So when I was working for the music library, like back in like 2018 or 19, I remember we had a meeting with the big company. It's like they're with Paramount now, basically. And they actually brought up AI like way back then, saying, we just saw this company that you can pretty much have them create the music for you, and it's done by a robot. And they showed us it on the spot. We were having lunch and they showed us it. And we asked for their feedback, like, what do you guys think about that? Because we're the music library, we're working for that, making music for that company. So they basically said that like they prefer working more so with an actual person or actual company where they can meet specific needs, because people have unique bounces. It's going to be really hard for an AI to get a bounce like Timbaland, right? So in my opinion, I feel like I don't really see that as a threat, in my opinion. I have like, honestly, all that AI talk about music, I haven't really been paying attention to just because of that conversation maybe before. Maybe it's something that should be on my radar, but I'm pretty confident that, we still, the actual humans, versus the robots, we're gonna make it through.
Yeah, Skynet's not a threat. Yeah, at least not to the sync industry.
Yeah.
Hey,
go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna get you guys off, but can we start getting questions from YouTube here?
Oh yeah, you want to say those?
Yeah, let's switch over to YouTube here because you're in here. We'll give these people priority.
For sure. Yeah, we appreciate all you guys for showing up right now. Let me see. A huge opportunity for a
Thank you, Cloud9. I appreciate you our Twitter beef, our little Twitter beef, we'll call it.
Oh yeah, I saw that yesterday. Let's see, what's a good question here? We got one from Trizzy Trade Production. It says, what's the best way to include metadata on your tracks, and it is a deal breaker for libraries?
That's a really good question. So exclusive libraries, they typically take care of that information for you. They'll add that metadata in. But I do recommend that sometimes as an incentive to get inside of a music library, offering to already include your metadata. And there's other companies that are non-exclusive, or sometimes when you're pitching directly to like a Seek agency, if you're an artist in here, adding your metadata is good. And the way that you can do that is a couple of ways, but you could do Disco, which is what I mentioned in the masterclass already. Disco's a site. You don't have to use Disco, but if you, Disco has everything pretty much pre-populated for you, which makes it pretty easy. But you can also use MP3 tag or iTunes and do the same thing. You just go to iTunes, right click, hit song info, enter in your information. You want to add your name, your contact info, lyrics if you have any, keywords, all that good stuff. So that's the two easiest ways that you can actually get that started.
For sure, yeah. All right, cool. We also got another one here from AK Beats. He says, do you have any suggestions on what music libraries to start off with and how many to sign up with at the beginning?
So if you're looking for music libraries, the easiest way, which I was mentioning in the Q&A, is music library directories. There's no best library. Everybody asks, like, what's the best library? In my opinion, I can just tell you the most popular libraries, but it won't do you anything because they're so like established already that they may not have an opportunity for you to really stand out. So there's no best one, but if you want to sign up with them, typically they have a submission form or an email process on their website where you can actually sign up. The best thing you can do is do the research, go on their library, try to listen to the music that they have on their website, and see how you can stand out. Like if you make trap beats, drill beats, like I said earlier, anything where they don't have that style that you're making or that new wave. Like I see funk right now being a really good opportunity, maybe even hyper pop and stuff like that. See where you can really stand out. And that's a way you can kind of research them and figure out the best way to get it within them.
All right. Yeah, nice. I saw an interesting question here from Jaeger Beats. He says, what appeals to you about sync over beat selling?
The biggest thing that I think appeals to me about sync over beat selling, and trust me, I went through the beat selling process. Like I've tried for so long on the beat selling process. I've done so many different waves of the beat selling process. But in my opinion, from doing sync, and I was at a battle with it myself for the longest time, it clicked to me because sync licensing, these companies have the budget to pay you to use your music. They have to pay you and to license the copyright owner, which is you, anybody making the music, to use their music, as opposed to like an artist. Sometimes they don't have that budget. Sometimes, they have other stuff to pay for it. They don't have dedicated budgets where big companies are putting in saying, hey, here's, $200,000, make us this show, get the best cast, whatever, get the best music or whatever it is. So these companies have the budgets to really pay you. And that's where I see the biggest difference between sync licensing and beat selling.
Yeah, no, I think that's an important point to touch on because I feel like a lot of the audience is kind of in that situation where it's like they've been trying to sell type beats for a while and they hear about this new sync opportunity. So it's like, it's perfect that you can come in and show everybody different opportunities because, yeah, there's different sides to both techniques. But, obviously, like you just said, there's way more positives to keep an eye out for, especially 100%. Since it's not as saturated. But yeah, I got another here from
Troy, if Kevin. I can actually step in on that question because I know some of you guys. I recognize a lot of names in here of everyone who's like some of the OGs, right? And so I want to say we're not moving away from beat selling. I think I really want to talk about this is that we were so excited to have Nathan onto the team because this is a whole different way to monetize that a lot of producers might be more comfortable with. Because the thing is, when it comes to selling beats is when you like fundamentally break it down, you have to be on social media to gain eyeballs, to drive traffic to a beat store. And I mean, Troy, you can attest to this. Nathan, I'm sure you've seen this as well in our Discord now too, is people are starting a tight beat channel after a month because they believe that the algorithm, like it was a lottery before, and it's becoming even more of a lottery in that sense. And don't worry, there's great risk, great reward. Your type beat channel can blow up and you can make thousands a month just by posting your beats on YouTube. That's insane.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have marketing strategies behind that. And same thing with content, like your content can blow up. And so it's for those guys who really like maybe you don't like creating content. Maybe you don't like maybe you feel like you want more control. Maybe you're like, dude, this algorithm, like, fuck this thing. I don't want to do this. I want to just make music, and I'll find the people to send it to. And then that's kind of based on me of where like sync licensing, what I really learned from talking to Nathan and going over this masterclass fucking 20 times, I swear to God. I learned so much, dude, of where sync licensing is you control both input and output. If you guys remember Cigar's story, Cigar, I don't know if you're in here or not. I haven't seen your name pop up.
Shout out to the homie Cigar, man. That's my dog.
You know, it's like one of those things of where if somebody brings me a type beat channel, I can give them some quick tips to get it adjusted, but that doesn't mean that your next beat upload is going to be the one that like starts getting you traction. But with Nathan and Cigar, yeah, there he is. Shout out Cigar, man. Bro, I don't know how you didn't give up after 150. Ryan likes the F word. It's been a long day, bro. That's all I got to say. I'm keeping it real with y'all. Like after Cigar, I just kind of went through. Nathan was like, yeah, so there's this guy who like submitted 150 times and like, or at least looked for 150 libraries and couldn't get anything out. I helped him like within a few months. It's one of those things of where you control both the input and the output of you control what you're sending, who you're sending to, what you're saying. And if you tweak that and you change your tracks, you change how you're sending. Oh, next thing you know, a few months you have a placement or you're placed in a library. Then I think Cigar is in 4 libraries now because I've been also stalking him to get his story for the masterclass. But so with type beats, it's very hard to where if we make a change for your type beat channel, or same thing with your marketing strategy, if you're not really getting that many eyeballs and you make a change to your website, it's not going to have that much of an impact because like the variable of you getting traffic and you getting views is so dependent on so many things out of your control. So it's just it's an alternative opportunity for some people. And I think it's dope.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing about it is there's no algorithms you got to get past, you know? That's the big thing with the type beats is no one is in control of the algorithm. What people know about the algorithm right now can change tomorrow, and it's almost impossible to account for that. So it's like with these kinds of opportunities, these are directly with the libraries, you know, so it's a different ballpark and definitely a good opportunity to explore, especially if you don't want to be doing the stuff you got to do to sell type beats, you know?
Yeah, I think they're going to go hand in hand. Like I've been saying this, I feel like sync licensing, beat selling are about to go hand in hand, especially people who have an established system already with beat selling.
Can you talk about that, Nathan?
So
how do you combine those two if people want to combine those two?
So if you're already doing beat selling and you're like, I already have a good amount of income from this, this is where I'm really established, but I also want to do sync licensing. What you can do is you can take those drums from your beats that you're already uploading for your type beats, kind of arrange them for sync a little bit. Just take those drums, take out the melodic elements, but still use the little presets that you're using from that track, make an entire new track using those same exact drums, send that out for sync. Just have the arrangement a little bit different. This is going to be a quick intro. You're going to need a sting at the end of it. And then, beat selling, if you're making a living off beat selling, you kind of know how to keep things moving and changing. So it's not going to be too different as far as like, the exact structure, but just have that system. And then you're sitting both at the same time. You're going to take over because like I made this note when we're on our last office hours. Like beat selling is pretty stagnant once you start getting sales, right? Sync licensing may start a little bit slow, but at one point when you hit like a really good point at sync licensing and beat selling, they're going to hit and you're just going to double your income. Is going to go crazy. So that's where I kind of see it going as far as like anybody who's also a beat seller, but I also see a new beat selling business model, which is why I think that it was really cool that I teamed up with Heat because I already saw this beat selling business model with you guys, but I feel like this could be a way better incentive to get more rappers to rap on your beat. Make those connections with those companies, these music libraries and stuff. This is really accessible for anybody trying to get into it. It's not like this is super accessible. I wouldn't be talking about this if it wasn't accessible, but make those connections, get those opportunities and tell those rappers you have this opportunity. Buy my beat exclusively. You're the only person going to use this beat, $500, $1,000, whatever you want to charge. Tell them you do have an opportunity to submit it and pitch it for sync licensing. And you guys can split the fees. You guys can split the upfront fee, get that, he can get his $1,000 back from the upfront fee and then collect the royalties in the back end. I think that's a future way that I predict how people can start leveraging beat selling and doing sync licensing at the same time.
Gems. Yeah. Somebody clip it.
Yeah, we got that after. Yeah, but it looks like we got a question pulled up here from Charlie. He says, in the masterclass, you mentioned we shouldn't send leased beats to libraries. Did I read that correctly?
In my opinion, yes, especially if they're used. If they're used in their lease, like for fact somebody leased them, I don't recommend sending them, because if that rapper has that lease beat or at least song and it shows up on YouTube Content ID, and then the companies that are pitching the music send the music out, and that company who's using the music sees that like that track is Content ID by someone else, they're going to think that you don't own the full rights to that track. They're going to be like, hey, what's going on here? So that can kind of deter you. I mean, to non-exclusive libraries is not that big of a deal, but to exclusive ones, which typically have a lot more opportunity because a lot of companies are leaning towards that, you may find a little bit of a trouble. So I recommend not using lease beats for sync. And if you are, just make sure they're not leased to more than like one person or something.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You gotta keep track of that kind of stuff for sure, especially with these libraries. Looks like we got another question here from JB. Run it up. He asked, do you need to be advanced with melody creation? I can only click in melodies with scale highlighting.
No, not at all. I don't think you need to be advanced. I think if you can understand the context of how your music's going to be used, you're setting yourself up for success. That's what we really focus on covering too, as far as the course, is like really identifying the context. That's the biggest advantage. One of the biggest advantages I had at the music library is like I was starting to see, oh, you know what, I make a beat like this. I just have to do this, these couple of things to change it up. And you're complimenting dialogue. You're not complimenting a rapper, so you don't need to go crazy. You're complimenting dialogue. It's a different lane, so you don't need to go crazy with melodies or anything like that. As long as you have a basic understanding, your stuff's not out of key, sounds like actual music, you're good to go.
All right, cool. Yeah, we got another question here from Flow Like Sway. He asked, you said we should only submit 5 tracks. I've heard some say an album or of 10 to 12 tracks of all one genre. So I guess how many tracks for submissions is he asking?
In my personal opinion, it's better to have 5. Just because when we were going through submissions, I'm not listening to 10 tracks. Like when I was in the library, I wasn't going to go through 10 tracks to see. Like I can tell how good you are, or if your music's really going to fit in our library by 3 to 5 tracks. So that's why I recommend it. Now, when you're accepted, that's a different story. Sending 10 to 12 tracks at a time when you're accepted to that library to get them inside their library, that's a different story. I definitely recommend that. But if you're first trying to get accepted, I don't think you need to send more than 3 to 5 at all to really have them get the gist of how, what type of music you send. And you'll see that on some people's submission processes on their website as well, their guidelines.
Okay. Yeah. We got another question here from Larissa. She said, Corey asked us in the chat, does the music library act as the music publisher when music is placed? And is there a benefit to owning my own publishing company?
Yes, the music library typically acts as the music publisher. But if you're an artist, you can work with a sync agent, and they're more so like an agency, like a sports agent, where they're going out there pitching opportunities for you. So they have those connections already. You see these people need, X amount of music. And that's one way you can get in without having to run into that publishing issue where you're like giving up some publishing. Now, typically the difference between sync agencies and music libraries, sync agencies usually work more with artists, but they do work with some producers as well. And they're doing more like one-off opportunities. So like, hey, there's like 3 spots in this entire season that we really need music to fit this context, as opposed to a music library. They're like, hey, we want to have one deal with you guys where we can use your entire catalog of 30,000 tracks. We don't have to worry about paying for each individual track. We want to pay you a one fee. That way we can use the entire catalog. And then that's why usually more music libraries are used to fill out an entire episode, because there's like tons of music being used in an episode. And like I said, sync agencies are like specific points within the episodes.
Yeah, for sure. We got another good question here from Astro Wizard. He says, can I work on sync licensing as someone who has a full-time job? Meaning, is it possible to have sync licensing as a side hustle, even though I don't have much free time?
Yes, 100%. You could definitely do this do this even when you have a full-time job. The best way, honestly, man, I get it. Because when I first moved here, I had to work a full-time job. I was also doing an internship, and then I was trying to make that time to make music, and it was hard for me. So I would have to sit and dedicate, even if it was 10 minutes in a day, to at least start a loop, a melody for myself, something to really get me started for when I had that time to keep the creation flowing. That way I'm constantly making something and progressing into getting to that spot where I want to like actually submit my music out. Now, there's maybe you have like 1 or 2 days off, and the weekend's the best time for you to really sit down. If you have that 10 minutes of work every day, even when you just start like a melody or something, you're not trying to scratch from the very beginning for an idea. So it's definitely possible. That's how I started.
Yeah, no, for sure. I want to say this earlier when you were talking about when you worked at the music library, just for people that aren't aware, that you actually used to work for one of these music libraries that people could be potentially be submitting to. So people should take that into account, that you got a lot of actual hands-on experience with that side of things as well. So that's, really a good person to ask all these questions to.
Nathan, can you explain what you did at the music library for everybody? Because I think that's probably like a very, what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
this is new to a lot of people. So
yeah, I'm sure I went really fast earlier, so I get it. Music libraries are basically the people who are the middleman between the companies who have the the opportunities who are making the content, and they're supplying them that music. So you're submitting your music to them, they're pitching it out. A lot of responsibilities I had, there was a lot of things that go behind the scenes, which is why in some cases you are giving up some of your publishing in those situations, but it's different than like regular publishing when you're working with an artist. So a lot of the things I did was like working on cue sheets, which I mentioned earlier. I had to fill out all the sheets of all the music that was used. And I also did keywording, some metadata, and you can go on YouTube, you can type in like keywording metadata tutorial or something. I think I have like one of the top ones for that because of me actually having to do that for the music library I work for. I would do all the metadata. So I would do the description, the keywords, and I would have to do that. That's like what I really started off doing. That was my intern like trial error for me to get into, that library. So then I shifted from that, from the cue sheets, to start going into production companies, the people who are making the shows. We would go in, they would tell us, the music influence they had for the show so far. They'll show some of the episodes they were already working on. And they're like, hey, we got notes back on this track. We can't really use this track because it doesn't sound great, or this track is not cleared. We have to switch it out with another track. And we would help them in real time pick out the tracks that would work. And we would sit there and we would listen, and they would tell us, no, we can't use this track because it's a little bit too distracting, or we really want to emphasize this point here, so this track doesn't leave the space for that. And that's where I really started to see like more and more of how the context of music was being made. And then I would do that stuff from home too as well. So I would do like playlist. I would just like a Spotify curated playlist where it's all the music that's like dedicated to the style of music you like. Or I would do that for the production companies. I would get all the the categories together, pick out the best tracks, put them in bins that really fit for what they needed, because they would have different genres. So I did that. And then I started, I did tons of different things, man. I had so many responsibilities. I accepted and denied them submissions. I always did that. That was between like the first year after I got hired all the way to the end. I was still listening. They would say like, hey, here's like 15 new people today who submitted, go through them, see if you think that any of them could really fit. So I would go through the submissions and stuff like that. So there'd be so many different things, man. I would deliver hard drives. I would have to show up to like the VMAs. I went to the VMAs before because it was like a networking opportunity before the VMAs, and I had to go to that, like the pre-party. Like there were so many different things that I had to do with that music library. And I'm sure maybe somebody who has experience in the chat, if you guys have ever worked for a music library, it's a lot.
Sounds like it.
Also, I want to interrupt here. We did just announce the giveaway winners in Discord and the announcement channel.
Oh, snap.
So I know people waiting for the giveaways. So yeah, we're still going to keep going on here though. So that's just a quick announcement.
Nice.
Yep. Shout out the giveaway winners. Yeah, so it looks like we got another question here from Jason Fabio. He says, how's the learning curve on using the services like Disco? You want to explain what Disco is to everybody right here in case they missed that in the masterclass?
Yeah, Discord is just like a platform to put your music on streaming services. I don't recommend using SoundCloud. You can use Dropbox, you can use Box. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't recommend using SoundCloud or like Spotify to pitch your music because you can be easily distracted. You can see the other songs that are on there. You might get an ad after every 2 tracks. So if a person's listening to your submission, they hear that or they get distracted, that just lessens your opportunity. I like Disco because it's becoming more industry standard. Music supervisors, the people who are accumulating all the music together for the shows, are using this as their industry standard. And it's very self-explanatory. It's going to tell you, this is where you enter in your metadata. This is where you click this. It will have pre-populated metadata for you, which is pretty convenient. Like if you're an artist, you do lyrics, have a section where you can put your lyrics. You can put your performing rights organization. All that stuff is going to be implemented in the track, and it does it for you. And then you can also see when someone opens your track. I'm not affiliated with Disco whatsoever. Like there's no benefit of me telling you about Disco right now. But I just feel like it gives you the advantage because people who are already in the game and the industry see you as, someone who already knows what they're doing. You're not just sending a random BeatStars link at this point. You're prepared. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Like a lot of the steps are very easy to go through. Like it'll guide you to get, to step by step, and you just click around a little bit. You'll figure out like how you can actually track when someone opens your email or actually like clicks your link, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that looks super useful. I looked into it after you mentioned it. But we got another question here from Holophonics. He asks, when in a music library, are you expected to submit a certain number of tracks a week or something? And how strict are they on how much music you create?
It really depends, honestly. Like, they're not strict. They're not going to be like on top of you, like, you need to make these tracks now. If you don't show that you want to work, if you don't show that you're willing to put the time in and really create an opportunity for yourself, they're going to find someone else who's reliable. So are you expected? It depends, really. Like, if they ask for, they'll send you out a brief. They'll ask for maybe like 3 tracks or something. If you can only make 2, just let them know you only made 2 that week or whatever. You know, like, I really think it's more so of just keeping that relationship and flourishing that relationship, more so than being like really strict on like, this is what you need. But there may be some times after you become reliable where they're like, you know, tomorrow we need a track. Are you able to make this? Yes or no? And if you say yes and you don't make that track, that's going to tarnish some of your opportunities. So there's not
Makes
a
sense.
certain number you need to send, but I do think that you should really like capitalize, take advantage of as much as you can, and turn in as much music as you're willing to create at that point.
Yeah, really, the more, the better.
Yes.
But yeah. I got another question here from Nikolai I thought would be interesting. He says, how much is rock and metal music needed in this business? And also, can you kind of elaborate on genres outside of just hip hop and everything, and the multiple, I guess I'm saying the multi-genre opportunity this is, you know?
Yeah. If you think about any content that's made, any content, it doesn't matter if it's a show, if it's a movie, any content is targeted towards a specific demographic, a specific audience. Like, if we're making a Target ad, what type of music are they going to make? They're not going to be putting Chief Keef in a Target ad. Like, they're targeting a specific type of person. So any type of genre that you make will fit, or any type of style you make will fit in the context, or would fit in certain contexts. Like, I usually hear metal and rock music in like those car shows or forging shows, like competition shows and stuff like that. Anything where there's like high energy action, stuff like that. That's usually where you hear that stuff. So like, anybody in here, typically, unless your stuff is super experimental and off the wall, any type of music could be used. I would see briefs for music requests that would be crazy. I had to make a Nordic tension hip hop beat. It's like a Viking hip hop beat. I don't even know what that means, but you know, there's all types of requests you're going to see, and there's a demand for all types of music, especially if you're good at what you do. So yeah, there's definitely rock, any type of style needed for sync.
Nathan, can you talk about how much like briefs would pay, like kind of some of the crazy ones you saw, and kind of what you, I guess, on average seeing, kind of more so maybe how the brief process works of once you are in a library, and kind of how accessible it is to actually make money from a brief?
So the ads are the ones where you're getting a lot of money. Like, ads and commercials pay a lot. These brands like Nike and stuff are paying for that one-off opportunity. Like, if you're making music for TV, it's not like you're competing for one spot. There's thousands of spots. But if you're competing for an ad, that's like one spot you're trying to get on. So the payoff is a lot higher. You'll see like 25, like 10,000 probably being the lowest, up to like 75, 100K the max. For just like custom series, like if you're doing like a TV series, it'll be like 500 on the lower end, up to like 1,500. And that's usually per track, or sometimes they'll give you a one-time fee. And not every library gives you that. It's good to, not every library is going to be like a good deal, by the way. You need to look into that with that music library when they give you your contract. And then like theme songs, you get paid as well, a lot more. That could be like 2,500 to 10,000. It just really depends. Movies are a pretty good chunk of money too, as well, like 10,000 up. I got like split. Me and a couple other homies worked on a movie. I think we got like 6,000 split between all of us, and it was an independent movie. It wasn't like picked up by anybody, I don't think. It was at a film festival or something, but that was still like on somebody else's own budget. So yeah, it really depends.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I think this question here from Larissa is asking, would libraries also pitch for those? I think she's talking about music for ads.
Yeah, I think she's mentioning how the briefs get sent to you, I believe.
Yeah,
okay.
Libraries pitch, usually they're trying to build connections to all type of people, like all types of people. So yeah, they'll get those opportunities too as well. Usually a music supervisor, let's say they're working on an ad, right? They're like, hey, we're working with this agency right now. They're making this commercial for Nissan. They need this specific style of track. This is what the references are. They'll reach out to not just like one library. They'll reach out to multiple libraries in their network, like let's say like 5 that they can really depend on, or 10. And they'll reach out to them for those opportunities, and then they'll pick through the best ones that they have from those small amount of submissions. And usually that library is only picking like their best people to really work on those type of opportunities. But then like for TV, it'll go out to an entire people. And I'm sure some of you guys in the chat who are doing music for TV, you already see that as well. Like you'll get those opportunities and those briefs more frequently for those TV shows. So yeah, libraries work on those too, and so do agencies.
All right, yeah. I've seen a lot of questions talking about royalty free loops and being able to use those in sync. Is that something you want to clear up real quick? Because there's a lot of people asking about that.
It's a great area with that, man. Honestly, like more people are starting to crack down on that just because of content ID and stuff, are like raising red flags, and music supervisors have to make sure the music is cleared. And a good gym is like pitching your music as one stop. That's an industry term, meaning you own all the rights to your music. You have all the rights are cleared by you. You have all the rights. You created the whole track. So royalty-free loops are used in some instances, but most libraries are trying to stray away from it. I do recommend, like if you're using Splice, like that's something I would avoid doing. If you do use it, just make sure you try to make it as like unique as possible. Or if you're using Arcade, I feel like that gives you a good opportunity to make everything as unique as possible. Some libraries I've heard from, I've asked actually about this question like 2 weeks ago from a music library. They said that, you know, they haven't really run into too many issues with it, but they have seen people talk about it. But other libraries are like, no, we don't want to deal with it.
Okay. And I'm assuming sampling is off the table too.
Oh yeah, definitely don't want to sample it. It's always best to ask the music library, like keep that communication with them. You build that relationship with them, ask them. Like if you have any questions, you're confused about something, ask them. It's okay.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know it was answered in the comments earlier, but this Q&A session is going to be available after we finish going live. It's going to be here on the channel. Let's see what else. We got a lot of other questions to go through. Here's a good one from Jutsu. Says, do you get royalties on everything in addition to the upfront fee, or only for certain licenses?
That's a good question. There's some instances where you will only get upfront fees. Let's say if like Complex needs music for Snapchat, for their post on Snapchat, that would be more of an upfront fee. You really wouldn't connect a royalty off of that because, you know, Instagram, Snapchat, the social media platforms aren't really doing royalties yet. So that's an instance where you would just get an upfront fee without the royalty. And then other instances for some, like if you're doing like library music, usually you're not going to get paid an upfront fee. If you're just submitting like, hey, here's 10 tracks that I made this week, here you guys go put it in the library. They're not going to pay you an upfront fee for that. Usually more so they'll give you an upfront fee if there's like a custom project, which means like MTV needs 10 emotional type of tracks. We have a budget of $10,000. Each person is getting that, you know, $1,000 per track or whatever. That's more so of the situation where you'll see the upfront fee with the library.
Okay, for sure.
Troy, I do want to cut you off one more time. I'm sorry, I'm just being an asshole right now, guys. I apologize, I really am. But Robin is telling me right now that our mentorship is going fast. So honestly, if you guys want to get in on this, obviously asking questions is a great way. But really the easiest, fastest, quickest way to get going is going to be with zero to sync. I'd honestly be I mean, guys, we're a marketing channel. I'd be kind of a bad marketer if I didn't kind of give you guys another pitch on the course. But I mean, seriously, if this is completely new to you, that's kind of what we made this for, really, because we knew a lot of our audience would be in the completely new space. So there's a 30-day money back guarantee. So literally, if you're like, hey, I just want to test this out, test the waters, you're cool. Like if after 29 days, you're like, I hate this. I'm kind of annoyed at Nathan's voice. I hate the people in the community. I don't want to do this. You can get your money right back. So nothing to lose, everything to gain. Does anybody have any questions about the course, by the way?
I'm hyped about the mentorship, man. Like once Robin pitched that idea to me
can you talk about the mentorship, Nathan? What's kind of the point of mentorship? Like what if somebody's new? What if somebody's a little bit in? Kind of what's your overall plan for these next 6 weeks?
I was answering some of these questions in the Q&A in the masterclass. Like if you're a beginner producer, you're just starting to learn how to make music, I don't recommend you doing the mentorship just because you want to be confident in your sound. We're really going out and trying to pitch your music and helping you step by step. We're doing 6 weeks. I'm going to be doing like a Q&A every week where it'll be like this. Everybody can ask their questions. I'll take the 10, 15 questions. I'll answer them that week. If I didn't get to it that week, we'll go over it next week. You'll have that video uploaded. Also, on Saturdays, we're going to be meeting up. We're going to be doing like almost like this where we have like assignments. Like some of the assignments that I'm excited about is like I've been already putting together different pieces of content that don't have music. And then we're going to put that against music and we're going to show you how that music fits in that context. And I did this yesterday in the live stream that I did, where I put somebody's track up next to like a vacation home rental montage, and it fit literally perfectly. And that was one of my jobs, was actually like putting music, cut to picture is what it's called. So that's like one of the assignments. One of the assignments, I'm going to be going over my actual brief, like a real brief that I get for that week. I'm going to be making the tracks. I'm going to be explaining my process. I'm going to tell you why I'm doing everything I'm doing. Another thing is like really just getting people, not just like, obviously, like I want to get you into a library and get you your first placement, but I think the most benefit you're going to get from this is actually how to create a long-term type of business off, like a business model for yourself. One of the great things I like about Heat, not telling me to say this, is that once I started working with them and really coming up with the idea with the course and stuff like that, is that I got to see how much work they put in. The systems they have, like Robin and stuff like that, is crazy with his systems. And that Notion command center that you guys are seeing in the course and stuff like that, he made that shit. Like he took my process, like what I do. He asked me everything, like, what do you do step by step? Like, what are you doing when you're getting a brief? How are you managing your catalog? And he put it into Notion. So that's what I really like about this company, is the systems that they have and like how great everybody is and becoming a team and doing all the work in the back end. But anyways, that's besides the point. The mentorship, I feel like, is really going to help people step by step, not just to get, like I said, their first library. Obviously, we want to get you your first placement as soon as possible. It may not happen in 6 weeks, but I guarantee you're going to be coming out there confident enough to know that it's going to happen within maybe that year or maybe the next 2 years if you're more newer within creating. Like that's my ultimate goal. I want to get 1,000 musicians their first sync placement. I'm on a mission, man.
And then Nathan, I don't know if you're seeing this, but somebody asked about if the assignments are going to be recorded.
Yes.
If you can do the assignments if you're not there.
Yes.
On Saturday.
Yeah, if you're in the mentorship and you can't make it live, we still have it recorded and put it up, and you can still interact with us on Discord. It's a private Discord where we'll be able to share like advice on libraries or any feedback we may hear from libraries. It's a community, like we're a team. We're coming in this together. This is the first group of people. I'm super hyped to be doing this because I'm able to give my attention and really put effort into like really helping people on an individual basis. I get so many different requests and like people ask me to help them a day. It's really hard for me to manage that. So this is giving me an opportunity to really put the focus onto that. So anything that you miss, you'll still be able to watch, review. We'll still make sure that we're interacting, and you're going to be held accountable too. Like there's going to be actual assignments, stuff like that.
There's accountability check-ins.
Yeah, there's literally I've made an accountability check-in where you have to say like, I did this. I want to help. I want to see you succeed in this.
And,
like,
I don't know if I can tell people this, but screw it, fuck it, whatever, right? Robin's not here. So how this works when you get into 0 to sync is there's a form you fill out, and our goal is to help 1,000 producers get their first sync placement, TV placement, if you want to change those words, if you want. It can be a whole bunch of things: TV, commercial, ads,
yeah,
Viking, galactic, hip hop beats used somewhere in the world. I don't know. Literally, I don't know if I can say this, but like how we have it set up is like, so when you join, like we're literally having checkpoints with people within their first 30 days. And so not even like the mentorship is value packed as hell. You're going to get all these assignments, but we're also finding a way to make sure that we can still keep up and keep track of the students who aren't in the mentorship.
100%.
The mentorship is just more so working with Nathan. And like I said, like if you don't believe your music is all there yet, probably not for you, but it doesn't matter what your skill level is in sync. It's definitely going to be good for you. Okay. Wait, can we get the mentorship separately or only through 0 to sync? You can only either get 0 to sync, the base course with everything in it, or you can get the mentorship, which comes with everything included in 0 to sync. I hope we made that. Yeah. So if you get the mentorship, you get the whole course with it too.
And then 0 to sync still has like that, almost kind of like that mentorship feel where there's different steps.
There's so much of an outline for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
guys, we literally, can I screen share this?
Oh,
yeah.
So just to give you guys a heads up, everything today went horribly wrong. You probably got 10 emails from us because some emails weren't sending. Some people were not getting the links. So I don't know if I can screenshot this to share it, but we're still finishing out the command center for sync. And it is... Okay, I can show you guys this part. I know I can show you guys this because I took a screenshot of this. So, you know, the thing about when you get a course, right? It's like you have to watch all the videos, you have to take your notes. And then it's like kind of like, oh, man, like you have to keep your notes somewhere. But we literally did that for you. We literally have Nathan's fucking notes for you. I'm literally telling you, like, we want to get 1,000 producers their first placement. And we're doing everything we can. Like, you click in here, there's all Nathan's notes, the team's notes about everything, explaining everything. And I'm probably showing too much, so I'll stop now. I don't know if there's anything else I can share. Anything else, Nathan, that you really enjoy about, like, what's your favorite part about the command center, you would say?
Just to be able to like track, let's say like if you have a music library that you pitched out to that you are waiting to hear a reply back, there's a system in there that you can set up that will trigger like your track, which tracks you sent. If you added the metadata into it, you can add it in that track, and it's automatically going to be a filter. If you check a box, it'll automatically trigger other things that show you like, oh, I already pitched this track, or like, oh, I heard back from this music library, or oh, like I have this music library already accepting this submission that I sent out, and it's being used for this show. Like there's a whole system that triggers the process that I do. That's in 20 different tabs is all consolidated, which is pretty dope.
So someone asked, can you get the Notion template? No, the Notion template as of now is not sold. One off. You don't offer mentorship outside of the course at all? No, there's nothing there. We literally didn't even have mentorship until probably 2 weeks ago. I told Robin, I was like, dude, how cool would it be if Nathan just coached people? And we were like, that's probably too much for Nathan to do. And I was like, hey, man, I got this idea. So we're going to have 50 people and you coach them. He's like, hell yeah, let's do it. I was like, oh, okay. You want to do that? Like that? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have to convince you at all. You're cool. Sweet.
I do have a disclaimer though. And I say this, if you already got the mentorship, my son will be born within like the next like 3 to 4 weeks. We don't know, it's any time now. So if that has to change anything or we have to reschedule anything, please be flexible with me like for that week. I'm not taking paternity leave or anything like that. I'm just going to have to like say, oh, okay, today guys, we're going to do Saturday instead of Sunday or something, so that's the only disclaimer.
Sweet. And I'll answer this question. Someone said, I thought to be part of the CCS course. So obviously, since this is sync licensing, this is completely different from selling beats. And so that's why we kept these two separate like that. Is my question too complicated? Please just simplify real quick.
Was Donzo? Donzo was the one that I put this track against the vacation home rentals yesterday. What's the question?
Maestro, but now you're pitching us a completely new course. We're not saying completely forget about beat selling. It's just this is what we're promoting right now. Like this is the thing we're promoting right now. We're still gonna make all the content about selling beats. We literally are helping people sell loop kits right now. We have like a side agency thing kind of set up right now. So the information is only getting better on both sides. It's just this is what we're promoting right now. So this course has most of our attention right now. So don't worry, selling beats isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think we addressed that earlier too.
Yeah.
Like because we're talking about sync right now. That doesn't mean selling beats is getting abandoned by us at all. If anything, that's even stronger than ever.
Plus, you can combine them.
Yep. True. Yeah, like how we talked about earlier. Nathan went on a whole spiel about how beat selling and sync kind of go hand in hand. But yeah, that was a pretty good information about all the mentorship programs. If you guys have any last things you want to say about that, or do you want to finish up with some more questions?
Actually, I do want to address a question. So Maestro asked another question. You dressed up a little bit, now it's on for 400. So we added a lot more content to it, made the course a lot better. Nathan, I don't want to shit on you, but this was the thing. Nathan's course was previously hosted on Google Drive.
Yes. Yeah.
We spent the past 3-4 months, I want to say, more.
No, it was definitely. I started probably since like that fall of last year.
Yeah,
really get this started.
I mean, you had videos, but you had really no systems, no real action takeaways to take from everything, no real easy to follow processes. So, I mean, we added a lot to it. Plus, all the extra bonuses are in it now. So I think 400 is pretty much a steal. Obviously, I'm biased. But actually, Troy is now going to be following the course and making content about that. Troy, do you want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in, even though I'm been part of Team Heat for a while and I've been doing these live shows, I kind of feel the role that a lot of you guys probably are in right now, as far as a producer selling type beats online. You know, that's been fairly successful for me, but sync is something that I've been seeing for a very long time. And especially I've been seeing it become more and more relevant, you know, especially since we started working on all this stuff behind the scenes. We kind of knew that that was coming. But yeah, I'm going to be following the course along with everybody because, you know, that's just what it is. I've seen the course. I've read the material. Like, this is definitely valuable information that you can't find packaged like this anywhere else, really. And especially with the mentorship opportunity with Nathan himself, a person who's been killing it in this field for so long. It's just like, it's really a no-brainer, you know?
Appreciate that, man.
Nathan, how many producers? I saw Revisions talking shit in here and they said JK. I was like, wait a second, he helped you. How many producers have you helped get their first placement? Jesus Christ. It's been
like a 48 or 49. I'm trying to figure out this other one that I helped. It's funny, just said they got a placement yesterday. I'm like, I don't know if I was involved in that. So I'm just going to say 48. Yeah, 48 people so far. My goal before Heat was 100. But like I said,
1,000.
And I appreciate that, Kevin. I saw you said the course is still dope, though. I appreciate that. Kevin's somebody who took the course, and he just posted a track yesterday on his Instagram showing tracks that he's made from that course before, and it's dope, man. But like, if you had my course before, like I gave you info, but I feel like this one is like really holding your hand and building you real systems that I would never even think of to put together in the first place. So yeah.
But Robert just loves Notion. The joke I hear is like people try to make their life easier by making like Notion, and all they do is just make Notion docs and then like never do anything with it because they spend more time setting it up. But dude, that dude, oh my God. He's like, he's like, Ryan, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Nathan tell me his whole process. I'm gonna make it into a Notion doc and we're gonna share it with everybody and just make it like step by step as possible. I was like, crazy. Is that possible? Like, can you actually do that? He was like, oh yeah, it's easy. Whatever, dude. Somebody asked Troy. So now I'm bullying Troy. And now I'm making him commit to it because he said, I'm curious to follow Troy's journey. What's his @ and where will he be posting?
Yeah, my @ is @TroyVicious. I don't know if someone wants to link that in the comments, but yeah, y'all can check me out on Instagram. You can find that link in the Discord, the Heat Discord, because you know I'm always in there. But yeah, I mean, just more about my journey. I've just been doing the typey stuff for a few years, got some big placements, been selling beats online for a while. And now, as Ryan bullied me into, I'm going to be even more committed to sync now.
You said you would do it.
No, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to make some content around it and everything. It's going to be cool, you know.
Okay. Larissa said, Larissa, I hope I'm saying that right. Would you say we could still get great results just following 0 to Sync course on the mentorship program? So I'm going to say this real quick. Then I hand to Nathan. So Nathan's course before, when it was just the Google Drive, he's still been able to help 46, 47, 48 producers. So I'll say indefinitely, you're still going to get great results without the mentorship. I would say the mentorship program is just much more direct access to Nathan. You're kind of getting around the people who are very much like, you're joining a community, which is just a bigger brain. And so like, kind of how I think about this, how I love communities and why I love our community is like, imagine you have one person solving one problem. Like you only see it one way, you get kind of one idea, but imagine you have 500 people trying to solve one problem. It's kind of like you have all these different ideas. Definitely some aren't amazing here and there. I will say that, but you get all these different perspectives and people who are above you and ahead of you are like, hey, don't make that mistake. Hey, don't do that. And then it just kind of pulls you along faster. So that's what I'll say about the mentorship program is like, if you want to get going even faster and kind of talk to some people who are probably at different parts in their journey to also pick apart their brain. And there's still a private Discord community for the course itself. But I would say to take it like one step further, that's where the mentorship would be. So Nathan, if you want to kind of give your spiel on that.
I mean, you said it for me. I feel like the 100%, the 0 to Sync course alone is still, it's still going to help you like step by step. I'm showing you step by step how to do this. The mentorship is more so like if you need live track review, like if you need a feedback on a track, I'm able to sit there and give you detailed feedback. I have I'm still going to be able to do that in some cases in the 0 to Sync course, but it may not be as fast as you may like because there's so many different people asking so many different questions, and there's at so many different points of their process and journey within Sync. So it's hard for me to really get to everything at the same time. Luckily, I have really good help. Shout out to Snoop if you're in here. Like people who've been part of my community, like Charismatic is his name before, Snoop and Cigar and stuff, who were helping me with this too as well. And now they're like, Rucker's been grinding in the background, really going through the course of making notes. He's going to be able to help Troy as well with this story. So this is giving us access to like help more people, or a smaller group of people more directly with the mentorship program. And the course is more so like, this is all the information you need. You're on, like, you got this. Like, we're helping you step by step on this journey.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Looks like a support question.
Here's my ad right here if anybody was curious.
Hey, there's an inside joke. God, we're making.
I was about to say, is that really his ad? Holy matrimony!
I'm gonna knock the thoughts
so
myself.
The 0 to link sign. Okay, so the 0 to links to sign up, will that be getting sent to your email when I sign up? It will be later tonight when I'm at home. Yeah, it's the same link. So it's the same link we sent. You can check Discord. You can check YouTube right now. It's the same link. 20% will expire at midnight tonight. That's all of my sales pitch. Let's get back to some actual questions here and give some value.
All right. For the next question, we got Gold Soul Beats. It says, where do I look for sync libraries? For example, where are the libraries for Netflix?
All right. So there's a ton of ways you can do this. Like, you can look on LinkedIn. You can look on IMDb Pro. You can do all that stuff. You can go on Google. You can search music library directories. That's where people basically get a list of their connects. They put it together in a list. They have it for you to access. Most people will just tell you Google music libraries. That's the saturated. You're going to see like the first one, I think, is top 46 best libraries. That's just somebody just found libraries.
He's done this so many times. Like, he knows the first result.
Yeah, it's just the same one. Another few ways. PRS is a performing rights organization based out in UK, and then APRA is a performing rights organization based out in Australia. They have a resource where they put all the production libraries who work with them in that on their website. So you can put in production libraries APRA. You can put in production libraries PRS. Though you'll see a link. You click that link, it's just a list of libraries with their contact info, all that stuff. So directories will also have that too as well. Music library directories. Luckily, we did a lot of that work for you already. But that's the easiest ways to find them. But if you're like, you know what, I want to work specifically on Netflix, you're gonna have to actually do your research. Go on that music library's website, look at their credits that they have and see, oh, okay, they work on a Netflix show. That's like an opportunity I want to get. That's the easiest way to do it. That's like the way you're really going to get in, because it's not like Netflix is like directly working with music libraries, right? It's production companies who are making the shows hired by Netflix or these networks. They're saying, hey, here's $1 million. We're going to, fund you to go make a show. And Netflix pays those production companies. They come up with the whole idea, or they pitch the idea. And that's how it usually happens.
Yep, for sure. Got another question here from Eric Moser. He's asking about can you collaborate with other producers and submit that with split rights to libraries, or does that reduce the chance of getting placed?
I wouldn't say it reduces your chances of getting placed, but there's some libraries who you have to sign an agreement with to have that collaborated on with you. There's other libraries, like Jingle Punks is a library that usually is just like, you know what, we have this agreement with you. You're going to get 100% of your writers. You do whatever I don't know what their agreement is, by the way. I don't know if it's 100% of the writers, whatever. That's an example. But they say, you come up with whatever agreement with your collaborators, you can still pitch to us, but we're not going to have any deal with, like, we have that deal with you. Any legality that is involved with that, if the collaborator is trying to screw you over, we have no part of that. We still own the rights to that music, with you or whatever. So that's usually how it goes. Some libraries are just like, you know what, we just rather have an agreement with that person. That way they know that this is being used for these shows and this is our actual contract terms.
All right, yeah. I got kind of a little bit older comment here from Cloud9 Music saying that he's got a few big sync placements, but he can already tell that this course will help level up and make those royalty checks real. Just want to shout out Cloud9 Music because this dude is legit, No,
snap. Shout out to Cloud9. Let's go.
Yep. I love Cloud9. He made my day yesterday. He called me out on Twitter and we got a little tussle. I'm just kidding. I'm making this sound very bigger than I am. I'm sorry. I forgot about the beef. I might have to side with him on this one, Ryan. I'm sorry. No, I'm playing. But yeah, no, I just want to point that out real quick. I think we got sidetracked by some of the mentorship program talk when we were talking about my story. But if a guy like this that's or that sells beats like that says that, that's a good sign. Here's another one from Nonzo Production. He says, is there a section or a place in the Heat Disco where I can specifically find artists for sync beats?
I mean, if you just at them, I guess. I know there's a lot of artists that have been reaching out to me lately. And I know there was a lot of artists in the Discord that I had before I merged with Heat as well. So hopefully a lot of them came over. But honestly, what I do right now, what I'm doing is I'm going through TikTok and I'm finding those people who don't have a lot of followers, and I'm like finding the music I really like, and I'm saving their I'm saving them. I'm favoriting them. I'm putting them to the side. So I'm going to reach out to them in the future to collaborate, because I really want to start working on with more vocalists. So that's one way that you can really like kind of get the opportunity and just pitch. You're bringing value by telling them you're trying to pitch your music to sing. So that's like just one way to just kind of stand out, gain more opportunity.
I think it's really funny you did that. I did the same exact thing. So there's this artist I see grind on TikTok. His name is J Roddy Music. Shout out to him. He's definitely not in here, but the dude grinds, and his music doesn't really get that much traction on TikTok, but he just keeps going. And I was thinking like, damn, dude, it'd be insane if like something like the value proposition, like if you're getting placed in libraries, it's like, hey man, like, you know, you're kind of getting shit on TikTok by the algorithm here, but like you want to collab, not just like release on Spotify and endlessly promote it, but like we'll pitch it to these music libraries I'm in, and just shit. It's a way different value bomb game that people would be like, whoa, like why would I not say yes to that idea?
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. And I know this question got answered in the comments already, but yes, if you buy the course, you will have lifetime access to it. I just wanted to say that for everybody in case they missed that in the comment section. Let's see what else. Here's another question from Frederick. He asked, what's the biggest difference in how music itself is structured for sync versus regular songs?
You're not going to have like a 30-second intro. You need to keep your intro short. Like I always say, 8 seconds is a sweet spot. You know, like 4 bars or something, you know, keep that intro really quick, because if you think about it in the context of a show and you're watching them getting to the scene, they're showing the setting, and then finally they're getting to the point where they're in a restaurant and they're talking. That's not taking 30 seconds to build up until your beat's finally dropping. So or your song or whatever. So I always say quick intros, have a sting at the end. If you don't know what a sting is, essentially it's just a button or a little hit of the root note of your melody that's at the end of the track. You hear it all over reality television. You just don't notice it. Every single like content for sync pretty much needs that. Add a sting at the end of it. That's the two main differences between the beginning and the end. As far as the structure and the arrangement, it can really, like, you really can experiment as much as you want. I like the ABA format, which is like hook, then a verse section, and then like a more built-in hook with this like a percussion loop or like a shaker or something that's really driving into the sting that kind of like really builds at the end into a sting. But that's like the main basis of it. The track length is about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes for instrumentals, for people who are just making beats. For songwriters on here, if you guys are vocalists, the sweet spots are like 1.5 to 2.5 minutes. So that's the main differences as far as arrangement. I like to say there's some type of movement or change that needs to happen like every 4 bars, like your hi-hat drops out for a little bit or something like that, or like just some type of change to keep the listener interested.
For sure. And yeah, we got a follow-up on that from Z Maka. He's asking what's meant with the sting at the end. That's a new term if you're not familiar with sync content.
So just think of your track just think of like a brass hit in your track, right? At the very end of it, you would add that brass hit to kind of ring out at the end. Stings are used to transition from one scene to another. You don't even realize it as a viewer or like a listener of the show, but they're usually indicated for the listener to know the scene's about to change and they're about to talk about something different or about to show a different setting or something. It kind of just moves the listener into the next movement of the scene. So that's usually why it's used. But if you never heard of it, it just imagine your track having a brass hit or something, you know, and it's the root note of your melody. So like at the end of your track, we would just say like boom or something with like a crash or a kick layered on top of it. You don't overthink it. It's very simple. It's just like a kick in the root note, that first beat of the whole note of your root note.
Yeah, I mean, before I saw your content, like I'd never heard of that before, and I've been making music for a long time. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's interesting that there's new things like that, just getting into like this new sync stuff, you know, I'm sure it's new for a lot of other producers out there.
100%.
But yeah, let's go ahead. You know, if any of you got some more questions, go ahead and drop them. I'm kind of going back through the comment section.
We'll go for another 15 minutes here, guys. So if you have any questions.
I saw one about somebody asking about Taxi. I think it was Jason. I don't recommend you. I personally don't think that you need to use pay to submit programs to get started. Before, I was interested in the idea, and then I actually paid for one of the programs and I went through it, and I realized like you're not guaranteed a placement just because you sign up with them. You don't know if you're going to get feedback on the track. You don't even know if your track's even getting listened to, honestly. So I don't recommend pay to submit just because you're the client more so than the people they're pitching the music to. You become the client in that situation. So I think it's better just to work with the 98% of the other libraries that are out there that are already free, because at the end of the day, they're going to be taking some type of payment from either a cut from your split or a cut from your upfront fee or whatever it is. So I usually don't recommend using like Taxi. That pitch is the one I actually tried out. I think that pitch is kind of cool because they do have other resources that help you as a producer, and I think they do live feedback on there. But like you're capped at 250 per placement. I think the last time I was on it, like you're only getting 250 per placement, and it's not even collecting royalties. So I personally don't think that I would start off with pay to submit now that I have a better perspective.
Yeah, no, for sure. We got another question here from Nonzo Productions. He asked, when pitching to a music library, should I pitch 5 different categories for 5 tracks or only one category for all 5 tracks?
So you're more speaking of like genres. If you're saying scene openers, I recommend more showcasing the style you make. So if you make hip hop, have 5 hip hop tracks. They can be scene openers. They can be dramedy. They can be tension. Just make sure they have that hip hop feel. It's usually better to stay on the consistent sound. But like I wouldn't make like one track be country and then one track be hip hop and then one track be rock. You really want to keep it a consistent style.
All right. I'm not sure if I'm going to say that right, but Zonima has a question. Do you need to register your tracks with the PRO before you submit to libraries?
When you submit to libraries, no, because usually they take care of that for you. They'll have somebody who will register all the tracks for you. They do all that admin back-end work. Usually when you're working with music libraries, your job is to supply the music. They're doing all the stuff that you don't want to do for the most part. If you're working directly with like music supervisors and stuff, then yes, you do want to register your tracks before you submit to them.
Okay. And we got another question here from Astro Wizard. Basically talking about, taxes when it comes for the royalties from syncs. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, you're going to have to like file those. You get like a W-9 form that you can download from like your PRO's website. Your tax forms will be on there. It's a little section that says tax forms. Download that and you just have to write that in. But you can have like all your music stuff and everything. There's a lot of write-offs that come with this too as well. Like if you're buying a plugin, write that off. If you're buying anything that's music related.
If you're buying a course, you can write it off.
Yeah, if you're collaborating with the artist and you have dinner with them, you're talking about the music you want to make for sync licensing, write that off. Like there's so many write-offs that come with that. But yeah, usually you get your documents from the performer rights organization and you do have to file that.
That was a real gem if y'all didn't catch that. No. And then we got another one here from Larissa. She asks, how can you register to all PROs worldwide, or would your main PRO collect it all?
No, your main PRO collects it all. You're signing up with only one PRO. You can only be with one performer rights organization, and your writer's performer rights organization is going to match your publishing performer rights organization. Like you can't do ASCAP writer and then BMI publishing because you're collecting through one flow. There's 200% of one track, 100% writers, 100% publishing. You're collecting both of those depending on your split. And you just want to make sure it's streamlined through the same person because it becomes difficult. Now, if you're international and you have a performer rights organization, usually if you go to, and Cigar actually dropped this a really good gem in the Discord yesterday, you can go to BMI's website. You can see all the countries they represent. So they'll still go out, collect that money for you, even if you're like outside of the US for performer rights organization. But yeah, you're keeping on one performer rights organization for your writers and your publishing.
Okay, for sure. We got another one here from Cedric. It's a little bit more of a production question, but do you recommend specific loops for sync, or I guess do you recommend mastering your sync tracks? What do you do?
That's a great question, Cedric. And yes, I do. And the reason why is because and if you guys don't know what LUFS are the perceived loudness of your track. Like how loud on a meter does it seem to be loud? Appear to be loud. So if a music editor, the people who are editing the TV shows are going through a whole folder of different types of music and subgenres, and they go through 10 tracks that have a nice dynamic to it, and then your track comes up and it's like -20 LUFS. It's very quiet, and it could be clean mix. It could be a dope track, but if they compare that track to that one, and you got to remember, they're not listening to like on nice speakers or something. They may be using AirPods or their laptop or whatever it is. If they hear that track, it's going to be perceived as less energetic, less dynamic. And this happened to me because my tracks would not be hitting that loud. It's just going to seem like a track that doesn't have as much punch or oomph to it. So I definitely recommend keeping a consistent sound. And you said it perfectly. -10 LUFS is like that sweet spot for sure. I think -10 is a safe spot. I have a specific library that tells me to do it louder. I've had requests that specifically have told me to do -10 LUFS as well. You can do it louder if you want, but at least -10 dB LUFS is what I recommend.
Yeah, you pretty much want it to sound as close to a final product as is, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see here. Did you already answer, should you register to a PRO before submitting to libraries?
Yes, you should be. You should. That's like the #1 step.
Okay,
I recommend doing.
I think we touched on that already. I got another one here from Nonzo. He said, is the PRO the only monetary entity you have to worry about signing with?
Yes, except for like the library that you're with. But yeah, you're not signed to like one library. You can change PROs, you can change libraries. Like if you're working with one music library and you decide you want to work another one, you can do that. You're not binded down, even if it's exclusive. You're not binded down exclusively only to them. They don't own your entire catalog or anything. And the performing rights organizations, if you decide to switch, I've seen this before. Writers in the company that I was working with before, they would switch over from BMI to ASCAP. There's no real benefit to having one over the other. Then I understand they do the same thing. They're out there just trying to collect the money that's broadcasted, or performed. So, you don't have to really worry about any other entities, from my understanding.
Yeah, for sure. We've kind of talked about this before a little bit. We got a question from Regular Person. He says, I notice a lot of TV music has a kind of corny TV sound. Are they looking for that, or could I package an ambient melancholy trap beat into sync placements?
No, the #1 mistake you can make is dumbing down your sound to make it sound like TV. Like there is definitely a specific sound in some instances of like TV. If you go to TLC, you're not hearing Metro Boomin type beats on there. You're going to be hearing a specific type of sound. But more and more content that's being made, they need to appear modern and up to date to their demographic, that people they're trying to reach out. So you definitely want to keep updated, polished sound that's going to help you stand out. The reason why you're hearing this corny music, and Ryan knows this one, is that you're hearing these old heads that people in our realm really don't know about sync. These old heads know about it. They know about how powerful it is. They're keeping that stuff to themselves, and they're making these tracks. They're trying to make these Drake type beats, even though they specialize in rock. And it may sound a little bit cheesy. And there's specific sounds, maybe like pizzicato or something that's supposed to sound like that for TV. But no, if you make ambient tracks or melancholy trap beats, if you understand the context they're used for, they're definitely going to get used in the right context. So,
can you talk about how you do that with drill beats, Nathan? Because I think that was really interesting.
I think, yeah, for sure. So I knew that drill beats were like becoming more popular. I really make really good dramedy tracks, like dramedies, like that comedy, the ones that you sometimes you would consider corny, but I like to make it more modern. So I'll put like a perfect example of a dramedy beat. I think it's S Get It by Lil Pump. Like doom 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 doom. That beat is a dramedy beat. You can put that in a dramedy track. So I knew that drill's basically becoming like the emerging style. I made dramedy into drill. I made a drill beat out of dramedy. You could do that with funk or whatever that new style is, a PHONK, funk. I don't know how to say it. I think it's like that.
Yeah, funk.
Yeah, you can do that. Like make a dramedy beat or whatever solid beat that you're comfortable making in that style. That's how you're really going to stand out. But do not dumb your sound down. Ambient beats fit in a certain context. So,
do you think funk will be kind of a new genre? I feel like I'm hearing it everywhere. Have you seen it?
As long as it's not too distracting, like I think it will. I think it really fits well for like dramedy, like I said, or drama. Drama is like when confrontation is going on or any type of conflict is going on in a TV show or a movie. That's like drama. Or scenes where like they're trying to sound modern and young, like they're like a racing crew, like Fast and Furious, but like more younger and hip, like that type of style, like or TikTok influencers, like influencers type of content. There's like content now where they're putting the top 20 TikTok influencers in a house and they're making a reality TV show out of it. Like that's the context where it would fit. So yeah, I can see that. I see that. I just typed in that in the music library 3 days ago. I didn't see anybody have that up.
Is that kind of a good opportunity? Like with type beats, say so-and-so drops a whole new album and a whole new style. So that's a good opportunity to post type beats and get some views. Is that kind of like the same for like a new trending style of music for sync?
It's definitely going to help you stand out. Like, especially if it's popular. I feel like Harry Styles, as it was at one point, was the most popular song of the year. I think last year or something like that. And everybody for sync was starting to turn in music for that. So trends happen. And I think that if you can be a part of that trend, it's going to help you out. And I didn't mention this, that music for TV is about 1 to 2 years behind. They're behind the curve of what's current in the Billboard chart. So that's where you can really take over because, they're not up to date with this new style.
Yeah, for sure. We got another one here from Larissa. It says, do you register yourself as a writer at a PRO, or is that a different setup for producers?
No, if you're a producer or an artist, you're setting up as a writer.
Okay.
Not a performer, because you're not going to be performing these tracks live on TV or anything like that. You're submitting as a writer, the people writing the tracks.
All right. And she also asked about point system. Is that applicable to sync, or is that something different?
No, it's something different. You're not getting points. It's more royalty percentage based. It's different than it is for like if you're getting points from an album or points for streaming services. I don't know if they do points for streaming services, but yeah, it's way different. There's no points involved. It's just percentages.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do want to interrupt here before we go too far. So Nathan was talking a lot about the dramas, or not the dramas, the genres. Jesus, dude, I've been saying dramedy so much. There's actually a video in the course where Nathan literally just plays examples of everything and breaks it down for you.
Oh yeah, that first one is the example of the like that's part of the album I turned in. That was the drill one. It got placed on a Pop Smoke show that aired last year because like 2 years ago. I don't know if you
can you hear that?
No.
That's probably a good thing though.
I made like an emotional cinematic drill beat and it got placed for that.
No, that's sick. We also have one here from Astro Wizard. He said, what are your thoughts on music being on TikTok? Will a PRO bring up the royalties from that? Or is it just like potential ads?
No, it's potential ads. You can get paid from ads, but you're getting like an upfront fee, and they're usually pretty decent. Like they're pretty good. And sometimes music libraries, some music libraries are on TikTok. If you're like a creator on there, or like, I think if you sign up as a business or something on TikTok, you can put a link and you can't use like the trending sounds. You have to like save it a certain way, right? You can, but you search on there, they have their own internal TikTok library for music. A lot of music libraries are on there. Like if you look at the libraries that say it at the bottom, just Google that music library. That's a real music library. So they're collecting some type of fee for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're getting close to the end here, but I think we got time for a few more questions. If y'all got any more you want to drop in at the last minute. Let's see. What else can we answer right now? Until then, we already touched on this earlier, but splice samples are pretty much, you want to avoid them, right?
Yeah, make them unique. If you do use them, just check in with your music library. That's the best answer, I feel like. Just check in with the music library if you can use them, because royalty free, like it's royalty free. So, but just check in.
Sweet. Nathan, you provided expert service for Larissa. We got her in.
Oh, nice.
You answered every question. So I think we're pretty much at the end of this because we've been live for almost another hour now. This is insane. So much talking today. I don't know about you, Nathan, but I'm kind of
my mouth is so dry, dude.
I'm a little, yeah.
And I've been nervous. I have a 5-hour drive after this. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't even start. But yeah, I just want to tell you guys right now, like I said, our goal is to help 1,000 producers get their first sync placement, or if you're more advanced, get your next library. And I know it's a bold claim to get 1,000 people, but literally, I mean, the systems we have in place, how good the videos are, how well Nathan just knows shit. I have no problem saying 1,000. I honestly want to make that 10,000. Hopefully sooner than later. I don't know how possible that's going to be, how fast, but
let's get to 1,000 first.
Man, I think the next 6 weeks with mentorship program are going to be amazing. We only have a few spots left, so please, if you want to get in at the end of this, we're gonna stop doing this, of course. The sync fast for 20% off, it automatically applies until midnight, then it's going to stop. And like I said, the mentorship program, that may last for another few hours. That may last for another hour. The way this thing's going, Nathan, a lot of people want to talk to you.
100%.
But yeah, if you guys have anything else you want to say, I mean, go for it. But I think our time here is pretty much done.
I just want to say, honestly, thank you guys for taking the time with me today. Happy birthday, Courtney. I know today's your birthday. Some people take, time off today to spend time to learn about this masterclass. And bear with us with the emails, not getting the emails sent, stuff like that. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate you guys taking the time with us. Hopefully we provide you a lot of info where you can really just start getting started yourself. If you can't even afford the masterclass, we're here, here to support you in the Discord and stuff like that. We're very active. We have people who are willing to help. And, we don't really gatekeep. We're out here trying to help. We want to see you succeed in this space. My goal is always to spread awareness. And, luckily, he has provided me a lot of resources to really make that happen. We have big plans in the future. This is just the beginning. We're just getting started. So, thank you, everybody who came through, had patience, and, ask the questions and stuff like that and show support. We really appreciate you guys. Happy
then,
birthday, Josh.
Yeah, happy birthday, Josh. Thank you, everybody who took off work today. That was kind of insane to hear. I just don't blows my mind. You guys are that dedicated to this, which is awesome. I hope we deliver enough value through all of this and the course too. And Larissa, you asked, can you get instant access? Yeah, once you enroll, you get instant access to all the videos. The Sync Command Center is still something we're finishing up, hoping to get done this weekend. If not, definitely within the next few days, just making sure everything's working before we mass launch it to everybody. But yeah, once you signed up, you get an email and you can start watching and consuming all the content. It's less than 4 hours of content. So literally, if you're willing to watch 6 episodes of TV, I don't know how they're getting like longer and longer these days. You can start getting your music on TV. So how you like that?
Or ads or anything really.
Yeah. Possibilities are endless. Netflix released like 1,000 new episodes of TV in like the last 90 days. So
crazy.
It's insane.
But yeah, no, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for today's office hours session. Yeah, like they already said, we appreciate everybody for showing up so much. It's a lot to commit for. So we're grateful for everybody that took the time out of their day to join us. And, I hope you guys got a lot of good information from it. I know a lot of gems were dropped everywhere. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and end that right here. So I appreciate everybody for showing up, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace out, guys. 20% off until midnight. Do not forget 20% off until midnight. Okay, I got to pitch you one more time. Come on, 20% off until midnight. This is already like an insane deal. You can get the mentorship program for like $400, which I don't know if Nathan's happy about that. But
we're limiting it. We're definitely limiting it. I can't do that many people.
Get in before it sells out, which is going to be soon.
Yeah, no, everybody take advantage of that for sure. But yeah, we'll see you guys on our next one. Everybody take care.
Peace out.